Hello and welcome to this evening time taste challenge. I have two single malt Scotch whiskies. This is the Glenlivet, 12 years of age. The distilling company was founded, like it says, 1824, right? Yes, I knew I was right. The smooth flowing one distilled in the Livet Valley, the Glenlivet. Glen is a valley. Okay, green bottle. This is the older label. I bought this on purpose because they were transitioning to the newer label, and Walmart had a few of these left, so I figured I'll get the old label. Green glass helps protect it from the light. Brown would be better, but green is better than clear. So this is a very old brand, the Glenlivet. There's many different ones in the range. There's some cheaper ones. You hate to say cheap. There's some less expensive ones, and then there's more expensive ones. This one is not too bad. About $50 a bottle. But I think I know I paid less than that when I bought it. But the prices have gone up. Here's Trader Joe's Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. Aged 10 years, matured in oak cask. This is procured by Alexander Murray and Son for Trader Joe's. And if you look at the Alexander Murray and Son website, it's the exact same label and bottle, except that they have a different insignia here, the Alexander Murray and Company insignia. And it says Alexander Murray and Company instead of Trader Joe's. Everything else is identical. All right, so Trader Joe's was established in 1967. I don't know if they had private label whiskey back then. They may have had it all along. They do sell whiskey, rum, gin, brandy, Irish whiskey now. I'll have to pick that up at the local Trader Joe's about 20 miles east of here. I used to go there a lot for beer, but their beer selection just deteriorated, and it was the same thing every time. So I was like, yeah, it's like going to Aldi. It's always the same stuff. Every now and then it'll be something different, but usually it's the same old repetitive thing. Both have foil cap covers. So the Trader Joe's 10-year Highland single malt, I paid $23.99. And like I said, the Glenlivet's probably running about $50, but we'll look up the prices. What the heck? I mean, I know the price of this because I still have the receipt, $23.99. That's not a mystery there. Poured a little bit too much, but it's too late now. Okay. Both of them use real cork, as you can see. So one is a real distilling company, a distillery, and the other one is just a company that gets stuff distilled for them, a independent bottler. No problem, you know. I can see that they're about the same shade of amber, so the appearance won't matter. We get a lot of independent bottlers in the United States. Seems like half the liquor you see in the liquor store is done that way. It's all come from the same Indiana distillery. Here's the Glenlivet website. I think Glenlivet is owned by Chivas Brothers, pretty sure, for a long time too. There's Glenlivet in a rocks glass, vibrant gold in color. This whiskey entices you in. A silky vanilla sweetness dances across your palate, followed by rich fruit and subtle marzipan, a word that has virtually no meaning in the United States. Spice, it has no meaning in the United States. Spice intensifying your experience. Now, I'm spelling it flavor, not flavor. Tasting notes, European and American oak casts, so the Asian and American imported oak and European. Color, vibrant, bright vibrant gold. Well, of course, the European could be imported too, right? Because England is a separate country from the other European countries. Floral notes and smooth fruit. Notes of fresh peaches, pears, and vanilla. Oh, really? Finish, marzipan and fresh hazelnuts. The nose, vibrant aromas of summer meadows. A vibrant aroma of a summer meadow. Okay. And tropical fruits, notably. This whiskey has been called a lot of things in its time: smooth, fruity, complex, entertaining classic. The original malt whiskey almanac says a first-class malt, one of the most popular malts in the world, deservedly so. Well, it certainly is one of the top selling malt Scotch whiskeys. First matured in traditional before spending time in American oak casks that impart tastes of vanilla and gives the whiskey its distinct smoothness. Must be a bourbon barrels. Mineral rich water that comes from Josie's well helps form, not flavors. Flavors that during mashing and fermentation waltzed. The specific height and width of upper stills add a delicate yet complex character. Keep a bottle for occasion, such as an evening time tasting. Let's see if they spell it different international in the international website. Well, you get a small 70 centiliters. Yeah, color, flavor. Well, they were careful to do that because Sazerac, they'll just spell it the Kentucky way for a Scotch. Pair with sea scallops. Well, that sounds like something I would like to try. We'll go back to the American site. So you get extra 50 milliliters. Flavor, they say taste, not flavor. You could spend your whole life just doing Glenlivet Scotch, really, because they make so many. It's not like you'd run out of any options anytime soon, unless you are prodigious, or we could say maybe a problem drinker. David Cassidy says, "Good evening, Ron. I picked up a bottle of the Redbreast 12 cast strength today." Cast strength. Oh, oof. Too strong for me. But if you enjoy it, that's cool. Pricey, but most excellent. Excellent. I do want to try Redbreast, but it's just so many. I got so many whiskeys. I don't know what I'm gonna do. 58.1%. Oh, no thanks. Not for me. If you accuse me of being weak, you're probably right. I never claimed I could handle strong whiskey. I never claimed that I wanted to drink it. I just know that some people like. I know some people like it. May as well drink what you like, right? It's really only the fanatics that you get into it with. You know, these fanatics. They're like, it's got to be cask strength, barrel strength. No, it don't. Gotta be. But they'll just like harp on that like it's some kind of religion. Wesley Alzheimer says, "Hey, I tried some Sauvignon Blanc by Yellowtail earlier. It's a favorite wine for me." What favorite wine to me? Oh, T-O, not T-O-O. I'd try that. I'd probably like it too. I usually like most wines I try. Cheap, mid range. I never had an expensive one, but they're all good to me. No. Yeah, a little oak, a little peat and oak. Peat. Well, that's what I'm smelling. Like compost pile. Last night around this time, it was recorded, not live. It'll be posted later. I did this recording of eggnog from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Klein Peter Dairy eggnog. Had a pretty good flavor. It was the right consistency. The body was thick like glue. Some of these eggnogs are so thin, but like the HP Hood, the body was thin. Had a good flavor though. Still have a good amount of it left, but didn't have the right consistency to me. Uh, and then I took that eggnog and I added brandy to it, Classic Club brandy. And what it did, it made the eggnog taste like wood. I said, well, it just made it taste like an oak barrel, which I didn't mind, but it was pretty striking, kind of a shock. The Vim, the Man of Steel, said, I used to be a bourbon snob and a proof hound. I know some people like that. Nowadays, I love the 100 and below proof offerings of anything. Barrel strength is now too much, especially to have all the time like some people do. I don't know how they can do it. Joe Hill says, I was tempted to try that Basil Hayden toast. Oh, yeah, I see that a lot. Pick it up this week. I saw it at Costco. Yeah, Basil Hayden toast. Basil Hayden's pretty popular. But like I say, I cannot do it right now. Because I got 22 bottles unopened right at this very moment of bourbon. I'm talking about just bourbon, not talking about blended whiskey, Irish whiskey, Scotch whiskey, single malt blended. I'm talking about, and Canadian, don't forget Canada. Just bourbon. I got 22 bottles that have not been opened. And that's getting out of control. The Man of Steel says, I don't either. Taste. Yeah. Now see, I mixed them up again. Now I'm getting that compost pile smell here. Now I think the compost pile is the Trader Joe's. That Highland single malt has that little compost pile, which sounds wretched, right? Like, why? Who would drink that? It does sound terrible, but I don't know how else to describe it. But it doesn't taste terrible. Yeah, honey over here. All right, taste. Cheers. Honey. It tastes like honey and a little bit of oak. What about vanilla? Maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe. That could be the case that they gave me. All right, let's go over here. More white bread crust, more oak. I like these 40% alcohol Scotch whiskeys because they're real mild and you can pick up a lot of subtle flavors. Everything does not have to be about super jacked up. Like all these IPAs now, they all coming in at 9, 9.5. After a while, they start tasting like syrup. And they're not IPAs that I see. They taste like American strong ales, and it's like syrup, sugar syrup. and I just can't take it. And you say, oh, you just don't like to have fun. We about to get lit. We about to get. Well, that's your deal. You do what you want to do. I'm just telling you, to me, they don't taste too good. I'll taste them. I mean, I'll review them, and then I'm like, oh, glad I don't have to drink that thing again in my life. And it might score a B plus, something like that. I just don't. I don't like it. All right. These are tough. Now you think, Trader Joe's, that's a store brand. Glenlivet is a legend. You can't tell those apart. You're dumb. You're so dumb. Well, I ain't seeing your videos. Where's your videos? You tell them apart. You do a live video and tell them apart in a blind taste test. Let's see you do it, champ. A lot of people talk about it, but they ain't putting down nothing but air. Okay. Let's look it up on Total Wine and More. The Glenlivet. They have that. Every liquor store in America got the Glenlivet. Every liquor store in the world got the Glenlivet. 12-year, $46.99. I told you it's about $50, but it's not 50. It's $46.99. That's a lot of yayo to put down for this. The Founders Reserve is 50. Holy smokes! The Founders Reserve is more expensive. It's almost $10 more. $53.99. Oh, and it's not even an age statement. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? I pay a lot less for the Founders Reserve, like $5 less, and they got it for $9 more. Well, $7 more. Okay. The Glenlivet. Let's see what Walmart's got it going for. Now, Total Wine has the 12-year for $46.99. Here's Walmart with their always strange prices, $54.48. Remember $54.99, $54.48. Now, why did they pick 48 cents? But that's what they do. Only 9 left. Only 9? That seems like a lot. I think I paid 44. I think I paid like 44, 48. That was some years ago. Now they got the Founders Reserve for $49.48. $5 cheaper. See, that's what it's supposed to be. The Founders Reserve is supposed to be cheaper, not way more expensive like Total Wine. I don't know what Total Wine's doing. Now the Glenfiddich 12-year, that's from a rival company. Y'all know about Glenfiddich, but they use that in the making Grants. You ever drink Grants? You ever heard of Grants blended Scotch? If you look real careful at the bottle, in the top it says Glenfiddich. It does. Look at it. Probably didn't. You may not have noticed that, but it does say that. Okay. Gold label reserve, $71.27. Ooh, glad I got mine cheap. Now look at the Glenmorangie 10-year. Glenmorangie 10-year is $39.98. That is so much cheaper than these other expensive ones. Yeah. So, hey, but y'all want to know what the deal is on Scotch right now? Johnny Walker High Rye blended Scotch, 2027. $20.27. I'm not joking. And I paid $19.99. So the price went up 28 cents. I haven't opened it. I hadn't tried it. And look at Buchanan, still running at 35. I think Buchanan was $34.99 when I bought it. Now here we are, years later, it's $35.78. That's your deal. Now you might say, oh, get on out of here. Buchanan's is a blended Scotch. It can't compete with these single malts. Oh, really? It probably beats both of these. It's probably better than both of these. Because like probably has a better flavor. Wesley says, I miss Bass beer. I do miss Bass. Man, we used to get Bass all the time, like in 1995. Not 95. I didn't start drinking beer until 96. Oh, like 97, 98, 99. Bass was so common. It was all from England. It wasn't American produced. And I used to love that beer. Isn't it sad? I saw Johnny Walker Blue today for $235 plus tax. Now that's pricey. I know. Well, David Cassidy, I paid $226 for it plus tax. So it ended up coming out to like 242 something. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that. Didn't live up to its billing though. But I did it once. I said, I'm gonna do this one time. I said this to myself. I'm gonna do this one time. I'm gonna buy the legendary Johnny Walker Blue Label, and I'm gonna see if it's gonna live up to its billing. My feeling was that it was not going to do it, but I was hoping it would. And then I did the review, and it didn't live up to it. You say, well, it scored a 95, 9.5 out of 10. I know, but the price I paid, it should have been 100 out of 100. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Not no 9.5 out of 10. Me too with the red breast. I would like to try red breast, and I will try red breast. God willing. I miss Bass and Lowenbräu. Says skateboard. I used to drink Lowenbräu. I tried the original German Lowenbräu. One time I found a bottle in New York City, a little 330 milliliter bottle, 11.2 ounces. It was wonderful. Now, back in the 90s, we used to get the Miller Brewing Company produced Lowenbräu. I mean, it was good. We used to get the regular gold and the dark one, Lowenbräu Dark. Remember that one? But when you compared it to the German brewed, it was a joke. When I compared it to the German brewed Lowenbräu, tonight is kind of special. Yeah, it was. There was no hope. But it's gone now anyway. But I used to like it because like in 1996, 97, that was a beer you bought when you were like saying, hey, y'all, look what I'm drinking. I'm drinking Lowenbräu with its corn adjunct. My grandfather used to get enraged about that. He said they used to make Lowenbräu and it came from Germany. It was so good. He said they ruined it. He always said that they ruined it. They didn't really ruin it. They just made it for the American market. I mean, that's what he meant, ruined it. Because he used to get the original one back in the 1950s and 60s. And that. I think this is the Glenlivet. Because I'm getting a lot of honey action. I'm tasting honey. Rainier and Olympia for me. It says UNX format. Somebody sent me Rainier beer. I never got to try Rainier Ale. They used to make like a 7.5% ale. It was called Rainier Ale. But that's been going. And in 1998, I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I used to go to Baton Rouge all the time. To go to Louisiana State University, LSU Tigers football games. Now I can't motivate myself to go. But I used to go. I would go to a Tulane game in the afternoon at 1:00, and then we would drive to Baton Rouge and go to the LSU game at night. And then the Saints game the next day at 12 noon. We would do that. Go to Tulane game at 1, then rest a little bit, drive to Baton Rouge, go to the LSU game at 7, and then go to the Saints game the next day. And didn't feel tired after, but after a while, it just wears you out. You get older. But when I would go to Baton Rouge, I always be stopping at Albertsons or whatever just to see what the beer selection was, because I had time, for the game. And so I stopped there in 1998. I was just looking around and I saw Olympia, dry Olympia. I have the can over there if you want to see it. Dry Olympia. And it looked like an Asahi can. I said, oh, they're trying to cheat off of Asahi extra super dry. It was only like $3.99 for the 6-pack. It was good though. It tasted pretty good. It was extra dry like that Asahi. But I never saw it again. Never saw it again. I like George Killian's and Lowenbrow, says Thomas B. Yeah, George Killian's has basically disappeared from the world. I'll show you the can, and then I got to call this. The lamps are going to make glare, you see. I bought that in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I can tell you the store I bought it. That's the only time I ever saw Olympia in Louisiana. Dry Olympia. Come on, focus, fool. Burley Sullivan says, you. Cheers back to you. So that one was quite a find. And I said, let me keep the can because you never know. Look how they're trying to make it look like Asahi. Even with the they're silly, huh? But you never really see Asahi dry anymore. That's a collectible. All right. But the funny thing was, we never saw Olympia, regular Olympia around here. Not the regular, we got the dry. I never seen Olympia dry, says Thomas V, and I live in Washington. I know, I couldn't believe it. And it came from Washington. It wasn't some like made in Texas under license. Nah. What happened to Bud Dry? Love the can. Yeah, Bud Dry got discontinued in 2010. I used to buy it all the time. Cans, bottles, didn't matter. Cans, bottles. Get the 12-pack for $5.98. Until 2010, the 12-pack was $5.98. And I would always buy it. But I probably was the only one in the world buying it. Wow, that is crazy to have dry Olympia. I am born and raised in Washington State, so growing up, Olympia and Rainier had a tall boy pull tabs. Yep. I can't explain that. I found it. I wasn't really obviously I wasn't looking for it, but it was there in the cooler at Albertsons. I said $3.99 Olympia dry or dry Olympia. You could see what they were trying to do with it, but I said I'll buy it, and it tasted good. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it tastes like regular beer, but it has a good character to it. And I went to Grand Isle, Louisiana one time in 97, and they had Pabst Ice and Pabst Genuine Draft. It was at Safeway. Safeway is owned by Albertsons, but they had 12-packs, Pabst Ice, and then over there on another stack was Pabst Genuine Draft. Obviously trying to steal Miller Brewing's Genuine Draft. Same color scheme and everything: gold, black, and white, and red. Gold, black, white, and red. It didn't last too long. Miller must have sent him a letter saying, if you want to go to court, get ready because we're ready to go to court. And Pabst must have said, "Oh, we were just kidding about that Pabst MGD, Pabst Genuine Draft." But I got the can over there. But they were both $3.99 a 12-pack. Can you believe that? $3.99 a 12-pack. So I said, this is the most unusual products. I bought one of each, Pabst Ice and Pabst Genuine Draft. And I said, watch if I never see these again. And I sure enough, never saw them again. And I don't know why. They were in Grand Isle, Louisiana, of all places, on the Gulf Coast, on an island on the Gulf Coast, at the only grocery store on the island, Safeway. But there it was. Now I got to call this and go set up my video for our white wine night. It's fun talking about these weird products that you can run across, though. Or used to be able to run across. You don't really see that kind of stuff anymore. Now everything's standardized. Used to be some odd items out there. Now, like I say, everything's standardized now, so all the same. But I found National Bohemian Ice in Baltimore, Maryland in 2010. I hadn't started doing video reviews yet, but it was a nightmare trying to find that the second time because I never found it again. I wanted to do a video review so bad for it, but I might have bought the only batch they ever made. Like Stag Ice. I might have literally bought the only batch they ever made. I think this is the Trader Joe's because it had that little tweak to it. But I don't want you to be under the impression that these are very different one from another, because they are definitely not. Do they taste the same, more or less? Yes, more or less they do. Are there vast differences? Well, not if they taste the same, more or less. Are there some little tiny insignificant differences? Yeah, there are. They don't matter much. Should you pay the extra $30 to get this one? Or should you save $30 and get the Trader Joe's? Obviously, you should save the $30 and get the Trader Joe's, because you're saving $30 and you ain't losing $3 in quality. Well, honestly, you're not losing 30 cents in quality. You may not be losing any quality. So this is one of those times where it definitely pays to get the private label, because you're losing nothing. You say, well, you lose all your friends, because if you bring this to their party, they're going to look down on you and say, oh, look at him bringing this store brand stuff. He could have brought Glenlivet, but he's so cheap. But not that any of those people saying all that could ever tell them apart. They wouldn't do it. I mean, they would not do the taste challenge because they wouldn't allow themselves to get embarrassed by not being able to tell them apart. They're too busy stunting. All right. So one last sip over here. Yeah. Save you $30. I mean, for real. You're actually saving more than $30 because it's even more than $30 difference. When you buy Glenlivet, are you buying a name? Oh, yeah, you're buying a name. You say, what? Yeah, you're buying a name. You buy Crown Royal, you're buying a name. You're not buying a whiskey, you're buying a name. You buy Jack Daniels, you're buying a name. Jim Beam, you're buying a name, but at least that name's not too expensive. Everything is about buying a name. The product quality is usually no different than some product that you never heard of, that might be from some small company that doesn't have its foot in the door or barely does, and people will pass it over. So it just goes to show you, you want to buy names, go ahead, buy the name. Whatever product you're talking about, buy the name, do it. Go ahead. It's your money. Doesn't matter to me. Makes no difference to me since I'm not paying for it. Now, if I was paying for it, well, it would make a very big difference. Okay, so I'm going to say this is the Glenlivet. I got it. And furthermore, I got it. So that puts me at what? 4 wins, 3 losses? 5 wins, 3 losses. nothing to brag about, but it's not terrible. So 5 wins, 3 losses. And I feel, or I get a feeling that I'm going to continue to win. So I've got the Glenlivet Founders Reserve. Not exactly a product full of, unique character, but it's nice. Once again, you're buying the name, but is it going to beat the Trader Joe's? No way. It's not going to win. It might compete, they'll compete, but it'll be the same story as today. They'll be like very close in flavor. You say, yeah, but that's Highland. I mean, that's Highland. That's Speyside. I know. Okay, I know. We talked about that like 20 times already. But they don't really taste much different one from another. And so I think that Trader Joe's is going to win tomorrow. Now, once I bring in the Isla, you say, what about the Isla? Obviously, there'll be no hope. Trader Joe's cannot compete. That's a whole different. That's a different ball game. So no one in their mind would think it's going to compete. And you might say, well, you're bringing personal preference in because you like the smoky stuff. Some people don't like smoky stuff. I get that. So then the result would just be flipped, just reverse the result, still be consistent. All right. So thanks for watching. We'll be back in a very short amount of time, but it won't be whiskey. It'll be wine. White wine of any sort and any price point. It could be the cheapest white wine that you could find. It could be a middle range or an expensive one. Makes no difference to me. All right. Y'all take care and see you in a few minutes.